Welcome to my channel. Try to hear the latest story.
At Thanksgiving, my nephew dumped turkey on my lap. "Lick it off," he said. While my sister laughed, I stayed silent. That night, Mom texted, "Don't contact us again." I replied, "Sure, I'm removing my name from every loan too." Minutes later, the group chat was imploding. "All right, Reddit. My sister thought it was cute when my nephew dumped my plate in my lap." Well, that was the last time they laughed. I gave them a hard reality check. Grab your popcorn and enjoy the shit show. Name's Riley, 33 male, and I fix pipes for a living. Let me set the scene for you. I'm sitting in my van outside a hardware store on a Thursday night. Just finished an emergency call. Some guy's water heater exploded and flooded his basement. Spent 4 hours in ankle-deep water, replacing valves and running new lines. The call had come in around 6:30, right when I sat down with takeout from the Chinese place near my apartment. I took 2 bites before the phone rang. The guy was panicking. Water everywhere. His wife was screaming in the background. I showed up 20 minutes later. The basement looked like a swimming pool. 3 inches deep, the water heater had split at a weak seam. Happens with older units. Shut off the main line first. Always do. Then started pumping. Got the water down. Disconnected the old unit. Hauled it up the stairs while the guy watched and wrung his hands. The new water heater took 2 hours to install. Running new lines took another hour because the old copper was corroded. While I worked, I listened to them argue in the kitchen above me. Money stress. The sound carried through the floorboards. Finished at 10:15. The guy paid me in cash. Full amount plus a tip. Then my phone lit up. Mom's text hit like a court summons. "We've cut you off. Don't contact us again." No explanation. No lead up. Just a clean break delivered via text message. I stared at it. Read it 3 times. It was weird. "We've cut you off." Like I was some kind of subscription service they decided to cancel. Another text popped up. My sister Haley hearted the message. A little thumbs up emoji next to "Don't contact us again." Real classy. Here's the thing. 6 hours earlier, I was at Thanksgiving dinner. Haley's kid Theo, who just turned 5, grabbed my plate while I was helping Mom in the kitchen. The plate with turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy. The whole 9 yards. Kid looked right at me, smiled, and flipped it onto my lap. Then he giggled. "Oops! I think you need to lick it off." Haley laughed. A genuine, amused laugh. While I grabbed napkins, started cleaning. "Boys will be boys," she said. Still smiling. I didn't respond, but something shifted in my head. Now I'm looking at my phone. At Mom's text. I'd been keeping records for 2 years. Not because I planned this. Just because I'm the kind of guy who keeps receipts, work orders, invoices, payment records. I apply the same logic to everything. If it's worth doing, it's worth documenting. And I'd been documenting Haley's financial disasters for 26 months. Every co-signed loan, every joint account, every desperate midnight text asking for rent money, every promise to pay me back that evaporated like morning fog. I kept it all in a folder on my phone, backed up to the cloud, organized by date and type. I called it my insurance policy. Tonight, I needed to file a claim. I typed back, "Anyways, I'm removing my name from every loan. You have 48 hours. Sent it. Set my phone down. Started the van. Didn't check when it started buzzing. Just watched the screen light up over and over while I drove home. What they didn't know was that removing my name was just step 1. I'd spent enough late nights after emergency calls researching cosigner laws, credit disputes, and how to legally extract yourself from someone else's financial train wreck. I knew exactly what would happen when my name disappeared from those accounts. I knew about the car lease Haley couldn't afford, the business credit card she maxed out, the loan for inventory she never sold, the landlord she still owed money from 3 years ago. I knew things Haley thought were buried, and I was about to dig them all up at once. People always want the ending first. But here's the thing about letting someone implode. You don't push them. You just stop holding them up and let gravity do the work. So this is how a plate of turkey became the final straw. How a family that called me their rock learned what happens when the rock walks away. But wait, here are some other things you should know. I got into plumbing at 22. Started as an apprentice, worked my way up. Now I run my own small operation. The work's steady. In my family, I'm the reliable one, the fixer. Not plumbing, though I do that too. I mean the guy who shows up when someone needs help. The guy who co-signs loans and makes late-night transfers and never complains. My little sister Haley is 29 and everything I'm not. Flashy. Dramatic. Treats responsibility like it's optional. She's the type who posts motivational quotes about hustling, while asking me for gas money via text at 2 a.m. You know the type. Mom calls her ambitious. Dad calls her spirited. I call her a financial black hole with good PR. But I noticed patterns over the years. How Haley always had a crisis that needed immediate cash. How her business ventures always needed just one more investment to take off. How her Instagram showed rooftop brunches and designer bags the same week she texted me begging for grocery money. The pattern started small. A borrowed 20 here. A missed lunch bill there. Things you write off because family's supposed to help each other. But borrowed 20s became borrowed hundreds. Missed lunch bills became unpaid rent. I remember the first time I realized something was wrong. Haley was 25, called me crying about her electric bill, said they were shutting off her power in 2 days. She needed $180. I sent it immediately because that's what you do. Week later, saw photos on her Instagram. New outfit, fancy dinner with friends, tagged at some downtown bar with bottle service. I did the math. That outfit cost more than the electric bill I'd just paid. Didn't say anything. Just started paying closer attention. Next month, another emergency. Car insurance lapsed. Needed $240 to reinstate it, or she'd lose her license. Sent the money. Then watched her post about a weekend trip to the beach with her friends. Hotel rooms aren't free. Third month, she needed help with Theo's daycare deposit. $300. Critical. He'd lose his spot otherwise. I sent it. The same week, she posted unboxing videos of packages from some boutique website. Clothes, shoes, decorative stuff for her apartment. The gap between her words and her actions grew every month. I documented everything, dates and amounts. Then screenshots when she'd promised to pay me back Friday, and Friday became never. Then I started saving her social media posts, the ones where she talked about building her empire while owing me $6,000. Bank statements went into the folder. Every joint account showing my deposits and her withdrawals. Every credit card statement showing charges at places I'd never heard of for things I'd never approved. I wasn't planning anything at the time, just documenting reality. Here's how it works in my family. When something needs doing, I do it. Haley shows up late with an excuse and a Starbucks cup. Everyone smiles. I carry the weight. While I carried the weight, I also collected receipts. The first debt was Haley's car. She was 24, needed reliable transportation. Her credit looked like a crime scene. No down payment. Terrible financing terms. The dealer said she needed a cosigner. Mom called me while I was under a sink at a commercial job downtown. Water dripping on my face. Wrench in hand. Just sign, she said. She promised she'll make the payments. I was tired, wet, annoyed. I signed the paperwork on my phone during my lunch break. Haley missed the third payment. The bank called me. I paid it, screenshotted the confirmation, added it to the folder. Then it was a business credit card. Just for startup costs, she said. For her online boutique. I'll be responsible. She wasn't. Every late fee went into my folder. Every text where she said she'd handle it went into my folder. She'd message me at random times. Tuesday afternoon. Can you spot me $150? I'll get you back Friday. Friday would come and go. The following Tuesday. Hey, can you help with Theo's shoes? He grew out of his old ones. No mention of the previous $150. I'd send the money for Theo's shoes. Because the kid needed shoes. Then I'd see Haley post about her new nail appointment. Professional photos of her manicure. $45 minimum for that kind of work. The math never worked. Her stories never added up. But pointing it out made me the bad guy. Made me unsupportive. Made me the brother who didn't believe in her dreams. So I stopped pointing it out. Started documenting instead. I wasn't mad yet. Just tired of being the only one with a working memory. Then Dad needed surgery for his back. Insurance covered most of it, but not the deductible. $5,000 up front. I wrote the check. Dad cried. Called me his hero. That one I didn't resent. Dad spent 35 years in construction before his back gave out. He earned the help, but Haley used it as leverage. Whenever I mentioned money she owed, someone would bring up Dad's surgery, like it was a family contribution instead of my personal check. I saved those conversations too. By the time I hit 30, my name was attached to 3 things: Haley's car lease, a store credit card we shared, and a line of credit for her boutique inventory that never sold. Meanwhile, I worked nights. Flooded basements, burst pipes. I learned which 24-hour diners had the cleanest bathrooms and the best coffee. I learned which gas stations stayed open late and which ones had sketchy parking lots. I also learned about co-signer removal policies, credit disputes, joint account liability. I'd sit in my van between calls at 3 a.m., reading legal documents and saving PDFs. bookmarking articles about how to protect yourself from someone else's financial chaos. Not because I plan to use them, just because knowledge is free and I had time to kill. Every family gathering, Haley performed, talked about networking and building her brand while Mom beamed, showed Theo how to dance for her Instagram stories while Dad smiled, talked over me when I mentioned work because plumbing isn't glamorous, and every time I added mental notes, how she ordered expensive meals but forgot her wallet, how she promised Theo toys next week, then acted like she never said it, how she borrowed Mom's jewelry and returned it scratched. Small stuff, easy to ignore, until you see the pattern. Last year, Haley's boutique needed an LLC filing fee. She forgot to pay it. Penalties hit. She called me at midnight while I was driving home from a sewer backup job in the suburbs. I need $800 by tomorrow or I lose the business license. I sent the money. Added the transaction to my spreadsheet. The locked note on my phone where I tracked everything. Dates, amounts, purposes, outcomes. Then I looked up the LLC filing myself. Found out the business name was already taken. The license she was talking about didn't exist. She'd lied about what she needed the money for. Not a big lie. Just enough to make it sound urgent. I didn't confront her. Just added it to the file. Lied about LLC fee with date and proof. Theo was born during that mess. I held him at the hospital while Haley took selfies. My little king, she captioned the photo, got 400 likes. The hospital bill got sent to collections because she never set up the payment plan. I found out when the collections letter came to my address. She'd listed my apartment as her contact for something and never updated it. I photographed the letter, added it to the folder, then paid the collections bill so it wouldn't hit public records. Not because I'm nice, because I needed Haley's credit to stay functional enough for what I didn't know I was planning yet. By Thanksgiving, I had 2 years of documentation. Text messages where Haley promised to pay me back. Screenshots of her Instagram showing expensive purchases the same week she texted me for rent. Bank statements. Payment confirmations. Voice memos where she admitted things she'd later deny. I kept it organized. Backed up 3 ways. Cloud storage. External hard drive. Email drafts. The folder became routine. Like checking for leaks before you leave a job site. Automatic. Protective. I didn't know when I'd need it. Just knew eventually I would. Thanksgiving at Mom's house. The usual setup. Turkey, sides. Too many people in too small a space. Haley arrived an hour late with Theo and some guy she was dating. Nobody asked his name. He didn't stay for dinner. I got there early. Helped Mom prep. Fixed the garbage disposal that had been acting up. Replaced a leaking faucet in the bathroom. The stuff I always do. The disposal had been grinding weird for weeks. Mom mentioned it last time we talked. I brought the parts with me. Crawled under the sink while she prepped vegetables above me. 20 minutes later, running smooth. She thanked me. Kept chopping. The bathroom faucet was dripping. Had been for months based on the mineral buildup. I replaced the cartridge and cleaned the aerator. Haley breezed in with shopping bags. New clothes for Theo. New purse for herself. Kissed Mom on the cheek and asked what she missed. The bags were from expensive stores. I was washing my hands in the kitchen when she arrived. Mom's whole face lit up. Dad came in from the living room to say hello. They fussed over Theo. Complimented Haley's hair. Asked about her week. Nobody asked about mine. I'd mentioned the disposal was fixed. Mom nodded absently while admiring Theo's new shoes. Dinner was the usual performance. Haley talked about her boutique's Black Friday sales. How she was building something. Mom and Dad ate it up, nodded along. She had charts printed out. Bar graphs showing projected growth. Revenue targets. The works. Laid them on the table. Everyone leaned in to look. I ate quietly. Answered questions about work when asked. Nobody really listened. Then Theo got bored. Then this freaking minion actually flipped it onto my lap. Hot gravy burned through my jeans. Turkey hit the floor. Mashed potatoes splattered. The table went quiet. Theo giggled. Oops. Haley looked up from her phone. Saw the mess. Laughed. Oh my God, Theo. You're terrible. Not stern. Not apologetic. Amused. I stood up. Grabbed napkins from the counter. Started cleaning gravy off my pants. Boys will be boys, Haley said, smirking. Don't be sensitive. I kept cleaning. Didn't say a word while everyone stared. It's fine, Mom said, nervous. Accidents happen. The kids sat there watching me clean. Not apologizing. Not looking sorry. Just watching. Haley scrolled through her phone. Someone made a comment about kids being wild. Everyone laughed. The moment passed for them. I finished cleaning, threw the napkins away, went to the bathroom and rinsed gravy out of my jeans with cold water. Something clicked. The part of my brain that diagnoses pipe problems locked onto a different kind of issue. I'd been funding Haley's lifestyle for years, and she sat there laughing while her kid dumped food on me like I was a joke. I walked back out, sat down, finished dinner in silence. Haley kept talking. Nobody mentioned the plate. I left right after dessert. Told Mom I had an early call in the morning. She hugged me. Told me to drive safe. Haley didn't look up from her phone. Got a work call on the drive home. Water heater emergency. Spent 4 hours fixing it. Sat in my van afterward in the hardware store parking lot. Tonight, it was time to use the file I'd been building. Pulled out my laptop, started with the bank accounts. Downloaded every statement from 3 years back. Then credit cards. Downloaded statements. Payment histories. Public records next. Business filings. Court documents. All searchable. All public. I searched Haley's name. Found the boutique LLC. Status, delinquent. Annual report, not filed. State penalties, $1,200 and growing. Found a small claims judgment from her old landlord. $2,800 awarded to plaintiff. Still unpaid. Found parking tickets, 10 of them. Total, $1,650 with late fees. Took screenshots of everything. Haley wasn't just bad with money. She was ignoring every official obligation while maintaining an image of success. I pulled up cosigner removal policies, read them carefully, prepared documents. Then I researched credit disputes, fraud alerts, joint account separations, looked at Haley's Instagram, public profile, posts about entrepreneurship and building wealth. Recent photos showed new clothes, nice restaurants. The boutique she claimed was thriving. I screenshotted posts from the last 6 months, then cross-referenced post dates with my bank statements. Photo of Haley at an upscale brunch. Caption about success. Date, March 12th. My bank statement from March 10th. $500 transfer to Haley. Memo emergency rent. Photo of new designer bag. Caption about treating yourself. $350 transfer to Haley. Memo car payment. And so on. Every flex was funded by my money. I made a document, her posts on the left, my statements on the right. Let the dates do the talking. At 2 a.m., I closed the laptop. My coffee had gone cold. The hardware store parking lot was empty except for one other work van. I'd spent 3 hours building a case. Not for court. For destruction. Typed a response to Mom. Removing my name from every loan. You have 48 hours. Sent it. The phone exploded. Texts, calls, voicemails. I silenced it all. Climbed into the back of my van where I keep emergency blankets and a pillow. Set an alarm for 7 a.m. Slept better than I had in months. Banks open at 9. I walked in at 8:45 wearing clean work pants and a company polo. Brought my laptop. Brought my folder. Brought 2 years of documentation. The branch was one of those older buildings with marble floors and high ceilings. I signed in at the desk. Told them I needed to speak with someone about multiple accounts. The receptionist looked at her screen. Made a call. Told me to wait. A loan officer named Margaret sat me down in a small office. She had reading glasses on a chain and looked like she'd seen every family disaster twice. What can I help you with? I need to remove myself from several accounts. I have documentation. I opened my laptop. Showed her everything I'd been documenting. Her eyebrows went up. This is extremely organized. Then she pulled up my accounts. We went through them one by one. The car lease. I could request removal, but Haley would need to refinance on her own or find a new cosigner. Given her credit and income, that wasn't happening. Margaret pulled up Haley's credit report. She could see it because I was on the accounts. Score in the low 500s. Multiple late payments. High utilization. Collections activity. Her profile's going to make refinancing difficult, Margaret said carefully. What if she can't qualify? I asked. The vehicle would be subject to repossession. She'd have 45 days to refinance or return it. And my liability? Once we process your cosigner removal, you're no longer responsible for payments. The account stays on your credit report until it's paid off or resolved, but future missed payments won't affect your score. I signed the form. The store credit card. I could close it immediately and remove my name once the balance hit 0. Margaret checked the balance. Current charges. Recent activity. Charges at restaurants, retail stores, online shopping. Nothing that looked like business expenses. Close it now, I said. I'll pay off the balance. Margaret blinked. The balance is $6,100. I know. I've been tracking it. I'd been saving. Money I should have spent on upgrading my van or buying better equipment. Instead, I'd stockpiled it for this moment. I watched my savings drop. Felt nothing but relief. Account closed to new charges. Your name will be removed in 30 days. The line of credit. I could revoke my guarantee with written notice. The account would freeze while they reviewed Haley's ability to maintain it solo. Margaret went through the terms. The credit line was for business purposes, required proof of revenue, tax returns, bank statements showing business income. Do you know if the primary account holder has these documents? She asked. No idea, I said. Not my problem anymore. What happens if she can't? The account closes and the balance becomes due immediately, 15 days from notification. I signed the form. Send notification today. She printed copies of every form, stapled them, slid them across the desk in a folder. You're very thorough, she said. Most people don't document like this. Most people trust their family. I stood, shook her hand. Professional. Left at 11:30. Checked my phone in the van. 46 messages. Mom, what have you done? Haley. The car! You're taking my car? More from Haley. Theo needs that car. I need it for work. You can't do this. I watched the progression. Rage to panic to begging. Classic. Pulled up my prepared document. Haley's Instagram post next to my bank statements. Added a title. Image versus reality. How success was funded. Didn't send it yet. That came later. First, I needed to confirm the damage. Drove to Mom's house. Time for the face-to-face. Mom opened the door before I knocked. Her face was red, eyes puffy. Dad stood behind her. Haley paced by the couch, phone in hand. Theo played with toys in the corner, oblivious. Get inside. The living room felt smaller than usual. TV off. Everyone positioned like they were ready for a fight. Explain yourself, Mom said. I set my laptop bag down. Stayed standing. Kept my keys in my pocket. I removed my name from Haley's debts. All of them. Why? Dad's voice. Quieter, almost curious. Because I'm done funding her image. Haley laughed, sharp and bitter. Over some Thanksgiving dinner drama? You're that petty? Not about the turkey, I said. About respect. About years of co-signing and covering and cleaning up messes while getting treated like a joke. Mom stepped closer. Family helps each other. I did help. I helped until helping became enabling. There's a difference. Enabling? Haley's voice cracked. I was building a business. Taking risks. You wouldn't understand because you just fixed toilets. The insult hung there. Dad shifted uncomfortably. Looked at Haley, then at me. Didn't say anything, but his expression changed. How much do you think you owe me? I asked. I don't know. Some. I'll pay you back. $38,400. The room went dead silent. I documented everything, I continued. 2 years of records, statements, screenshots, texts where you promised to pay me back. Haley's face changed. The confident mask cracked. You kept records? Obviously. Why wouldn't I track money? Mom was confused. That much? That much. Plus the credit damage, the stress, the midnight calls from banks because she missed payments. I pulled out my phone, showed them a summary, a simple list. Each debt, each date. Car payment coverage, $12,400 over 2 years. Credit card charges, $6,100. Emergency transfers, $11,200. Business credit line, $9,800. Total, $39,500. This is insane, Haley said, but her voice was weak. It's documented. Every claim has proof. Dad sat down heavy. Here's what happens next, I said. Matter of fact. The car needs refinancing in 45 days. Haley's credit won't qualify. She either pays it off, finds someone else stupid enough to co-sign, or surrenders it. But I need that car, Haley said. Her voice shook. Should have made the payments. The line of credit is frozen, I continued. Balance due in 15 days. That's $9,800. I don't have that kind of money. Not my problem. I opened my laptop, showed them the document. Her Instagram post next to my bank statements. Dates aligned, everything. Every flex was paid for with my credit. I said, you didn't build anything, Haley. You borrowed my foundation and called it your empire. Mom stared at the screen, hand over her mouth. I showed them more. Expired business licenses, unpaid court judgments, parking tickets with warrants, state compliance violations. The parking tickets were interesting, 10 of them, all from the same downtown area where her supposed boutique office was located. Except the address she'd given everyone for the boutique was a virtual office space. $29 a month for mail forwarding. No physical location. She'd been parking illegally and ignoring the tickets while telling everyone she had a real storefront. You're not just bad with money, I said. You're ignoring legal obligations while pretending everything's fine. In some jurisdictions, that's fraud. You wouldn't, Haley whispered. I already did. Filed the forms this morning. The clock's running. Nobody moved. But here's the interesting part, I said. Pulled out a printed list. These are people you claim to network with. The business contacts from your posts. I found their companies. Found their emails. Haley went pale. Don't. You posted about meetings with boutique owners, partnership discussions, wholesale connections. I have dates. Want to bet those people have records of actual meetings? You wouldn't, she repeated. I also found your old landlord's contact info, the one who sued you, and the supplier you never paid for that inventory in your garage, and your previous business partner from the failed venture. I let that sink in. Let her imagine those conversations. I'm not contacting them, I said, unless you force me to. Force you? Mom's voice. If this stays quiet, it stays contained. Haley loses her financial safety net, but keeps her reputation. The car goes back. The credit tanks. That's between her and the banks. I looked directly at Haley. But if you come after me, if you try to spin this like I'm the villain, if you spread some story about how I abandoned the family, then I send this documentation everywhere. Everyone knows. That's blackmail, Haley said. No, blackmail requires demanding something. I'm just protecting my reputation from whatever story you're about to tell. Long silence. Here's the deal, I said. I'm out. Completely. My name, my money, my liability. You want to blame me? Fine. But if I hear my name getting dragged, everyone sees the receipts. Closed the laptop. Picked up my bag. 45 days for the car. 15 for the credit line. Better start making calls. Then I started walking to the door. If you leave, don't ever come back, Mom said. I looked back. You already told me we're cut off. I'm just honoring your request. Walked out. Closed the door. Stood on the porch for a second. Heard yelling start inside. Haley's voice high and panicked. Mom crying. Dad's low rumble trying to calm everyone. Got in my van. Started the engine. Drove away while my phone lit up with notifications I ignored. I blocked Haley's number after 60 calls in 3 days. Let Mom and Dad's messages pile up. Changed all my passwords. Enabled two-factor authentication. Put fraud alerts on my credit. Took a few local jobs. Stayed busy. Gave me time to process. Replacing water heaters. Fixing leaky faucets. The kind of simple work that lets your mind wander. The work became therapy. I took a job fixing a kitchen sink at a rental property. The tenant was a single mom with 2 kids. She apologized for the mess. Toys everywhere. I told her not to worry. Fix the disposal. Replace the trap. When I gave her the bill, she counted cash carefully. Asked if she could pay half now and half next week. Don't worry about it, I said. Charged her cost of parts only. You've got kids to feed. She teared up. Thanked me 3 times. I left feeling better than I had in weeks. The notifications kept coming. I'd muted the family group chat. Checked it once a day just to track the damage. Day 4. Mom posted something on social media about loyalty and family betrayal. Vague enough to get sympathy without details. Some of her friends commented. Supportive messages, prayers. Mom responded with sad emojis and thank you replies. Building her narrative. I watched the performance but didn't engage. Day 6. Haley posted on Instagram. Long caption about betrayal and fake people. Comments full of support from people who didn't know the whole story. I screenshotted it too. Her caption talked about learning who your real family is. About people showing their true colors. About being strong for her son. The comments ate it up. Heart emojis. Encouragement. People offering help. I checked the profiles of people who commented. Most were casual acquaintances. Instagram friends. Not one person who actually knew the full situation. Just an audience for her performance. Day 8. Dad texted from Haley's phone. Bank called. They want the car. Can you help? I replied, she has 45 days to refinance. That's policy, not my choice. Day 10. Mom called from a number I didn't recognize. Left a voicemail. Please. She's going to lose everything. Deleted it. Day 12. Haley showed up at a job site. I was replacing a burst pipe in a commercial building. Saw her car pull up through the basement window. Finished what I was doing. Took my time. Washed my hands. Climbed the stairs. She was waiting by my van. We need to talk. No, we don't. 5 minutes. You're on private property. I'm working. She flinched, looked around at the parking lot. Just undo it. Please, I'll sign anything. Payment plan. Whatever you want. Can't undo it. Papers are filed. The car is gone in 5 weeks. Then you have 5 weeks. How? My credit's destroyed. Nobody will co-sign. I looked at her. Saw the bags under her eyes. The wrinkled clothes. The way her hands shook. Felt nothing. Theo didn't mean... Theo learns what he sees. Someone taught him I was a joke. It was just... Done, I said. I'm done. Walked to my van. She grabbed my arm. I stopped. Let go. She did. You really hate me? She said. I don't hate you. I don't trust you. And I'm not funding someone I don't trust. Got in the van. Drove away. Watched her standing in the parking lot through my mirror. 2 days later, Dad texted. Just him. Can we meet? Coffee. Just you and me. I thought about it. Then I agreed. He was already there when I arrived. Sitting in a corner booth. Coffee. Tired eyes. I slid in across from him. You built a case, Dad finally said. I documented reality. Seems excessive. It's insurance. In case Haley rewrites history. Dad nodded. Slow. She's calling you heartless. I know. Your mother thinks you've changed. I stopped pretending. More silence. Dad stirred sugar into his coffee for too long. I knew, he said quietly. I looked up. I knew she was using you. I knew the payments weren't getting made. I knew she wouldn't pay you back. Why didn't you say anything? Because your mother loves her. And I love your mother more than I love being right. The honesty hit different than anger would have. I sat back. She's going to lose the car, Dad said. Maybe the apartment too. I know. I'm just not responsible for it. Dad looked out the window. Watched a truck pull in. Driver stretched. Headed inside. You did the right thing, Dad said. Don't tell your mother I said that. Something loosened in my chest. We talked about other things after that. Work. The van. Normal stuff. The kind of conversation we hadn't had in years, because Haley's drama always took over. He told me about a project he was planning. Asked if I had any leftover wood. I told him I'd check my scrap pile. Bring some by if Mom wasn't home. She'll cool off eventually, he said. Give her time. Maybe. When we left, he hugged me in the parking lot. Quick. Tight. Take care of yourself. You too. Got a text later from an unknown number. This is Haley's old business partner. Heard you might have info about unpaid inventory. I stared at it. Wondered how he got my number. Then realized Haley probably listed me somewhere without asking. Sent him photos of the inventory in Haley's garage. Gave him the supplier's contact information. Thanks, he replied. She owes me $4,500. Good to know I'm not alone. You're not. 3 weeks passed. Mom texted once. The car's gone. Haley had to surrender it. She's devastated. I read it. Felt tired relief. That's between her and the bank. No response. Month 2. The line of credit went to collections. Haley couldn't pay. They froze the account and started proceedings. I wasn't liable anymore. My documentation protected me. Collections agency sent me a letter. I sent them my cosigner removal forms and processing dates. Case closed on my end. Haley tried to add me to a new credit application. Got a notification from my credit monitoring. Disputed it immediately. Application denied. She tried twice more. Disputed both. Added fraud notes to my file. The attempts stopped. December brought more attempts. Haley tried new social media accounts. Blocked them all. Tried emailing. Filtered to spam. Showed up at another job site. Had the property manager remove her. The desperation showed. Her image cracked. People started asking questions. The truth spread without my help. Through Dad, I heard Haley blame me for everything. Told people I sabotaged her, that I was jealous, that I pulled support out of spite. Some believed her. Most did math. Truth doesn't need help. It just needs time. By Christmas, the final piece fell. The state penalties caught up. Business license revoked. LLC dissolved. Any future ventures required settling old debts first. She couldn't pay. Asked Mom and Dad. Dad said no. First time ever. Haley sent one final message, not to me, to Dad. He forwarded it. I'll never forgive Riley. I read it, smiled, and moved on. Because that's revenge disguised as consequences. You don't need forgiveness from people who wronged you. My credit score went up 40 points in 3 months. The joint accounts disappeared. The co-signed debts vanished. My financial profile cleaned up fast once Haley's mess wasn't attached to it. Started looking at better apartments. Places with garages for my van. Neighborhoods where I wouldn't hear gunshots at night. Started thinking about buying a house. Building equity instead of paying rent. I scheduled meetings with a mortgage broker. Looked at my finances properly for the first time in years. Without Haley's debts dragging everything down, I actually qualified for decent rates. The broker pulled my credit, nodded approvingly, said I had options, started driving through neighborhoods on weekends, looked at properties, just a place with a garage, maybe a small yard, room for the van and my tools, a basement I could finish, somewhere I could build something that was mine. Found a place in March. Small ranch house, 3-bedroom, detached garage, needed work but solid bones. Made an offer, closed in 6 weeks. Moving day was quiet, just me and my stuff. packed my van, made 3 trips, set up my tools in the garage, hung my license on the wall. First night in my own house, I ordered food, sat on the floor because I hadn't bought furniture yet, ate in silence, felt peace I hadn't experienced in years. Haley's Instagram eventually came back. Different tone, humble, posts about learning from mistakes and starting over. Comments were supportive but fewer. The performance had lost its audience. I didn't follow her. Didn't need to. Heard updates through Dad when we met for coffee every few weeks. Those became regular. Theo asked about me sometimes. I'd send gifts for birthdays and Christmas. Cards with $20 bills. Little things that said I'm still here when you're old enough to understand. And that's it, Reddit. I realized that the best revenge is building a life that is untouchable to those who can't handle watching you thrive. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.